One of the methods to do this is called a slap and fold, which I've recently learned, and now I'm going to demonstrate what I've learned for you. I'm going to take the bread and the dough, actually, and get it out on the counter. Now, I pre-wet my hands, so my hands are kind of wet so the dough doesn't stick to them. The idea is to bring it up, and this is an unfloured surface. I rotate 90, slap it down, stretch it, bring it back over itself. Stretch it, bring it back over itself. And I keep doing this, and it's becoming, you can see, less and less loose every time I do it. It's helped forming a stronger gluten network. So that's the glue that holds the loaf together. And this is still kind of a little shaggy because it hasn't been rested, but I'm going to do this one more time, and then I'm going to move to a thing called coil folds, which are a more gentle fold. But yeah. Okay, ready to do the second set of stretch and folds and slap folds. So let's get the dough out on the counter. Again, this is it's a clean surface, but it is unfloured, so it is slightly sticky. The dough's still very sticky. I'm going to start this one out a little differently because the loaves that I'm making are going to be roasted garlic. So I roasted some garlic, 350 degrees for half an hour covered, and the garlic bulbs were submerged in water to keep them. And then I peeled the garlic off. So I'm gonna add the garlic in. So basically I just spread the garlic all around the top of the loaves, and then I do a stretch and fold. Put a little more garlic on top of that. Stretch and fold over here. A little more garlic on top of that. Stretch and fold there. And garlic on that. And that's probably garlic. Stretch and fold there. Stretch and fold there. And then we go back to the slap and folds. So and you can see now that the gluten networks are setting up strong enough to where the dough's got a nice smooth looking surface to it. That'll hold in some of the gases of the fermentation as it goes through its rising process. You can see the dough is not quite as shaggy as it. Alright, time to do a coil fold now. We're going to do coil folds. It's a little bit more gentle than the slap and folds. My hands are wet. I just washed them. I've been out ice fishing. That's why this is like this. So generally, you pick this up at the bottom of the bowl like this, till the dough comes free, and then you just fold it back on itself. Rotate it 90 degrees. Do it again. Rotate it 90 degrees and keep on doing this. Maybe I can do it on the countertop here so you can see. It's a lot more gentle than the slap and fold. And you can see that the gluten structure. Okay, we did our slap and fold, stretch and fold, coil fold. It's been covered for about 2.5–3 hours, and it's doubled in size. You can see in here that, and you can see it's good and jiggly, almost like a bowl full of Jello. I'm going to put it out here. This is a baking mat. Take it out of here and put it on the baking mat, and then we're going to divide it. So when I just poured it out there, that ended up being the sticky side is now up. We're going to divide it in half. This is a Banneton. We're going to end up putting that in there and cold proofing it overnight. So first thing we do is divide this in half because this is a 1,000 gram flour recipe and it's about 500 grams of flour per loaf. So we're going to separate this into halves and then we're going to knock the big air bubbles out of it and do the pre-form loafing. So we're going to pre-form the loaves. So we're basically just going to stretch and fold it over. The sticky side, remember, is up, and the non-sticky side is down. We're going to flip it over and we're going to kind of form a loaf with it, or a dough ball, not a loaf. And we're going to let that rest for about 20 minutes. Alright, the dough's relaxed a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of dropped from the balls that I left when I did the pre-shaping. Got some all-purpose flour here. It's kind of best to use rice flour when you're doing the Bannetons, but I've never bothered them. I don't have that bad outcomes. So we're going to put a little dusting of flour in the Bannetons. It's just a fabric in there, like a canvas, and it helps the bread release after it's been cold proof. When we get done with this, I'll put them in the Banneton. You'll see what's up, and put them in the fridge till tomorrow morning, and then we'll bake them. I'll lightly flour the top of the dough, and just a little light flour on the baking mat. We're going to do the final shaping. So turn it upside down, stretch the bread out, stretch out the dough. So I got the dough in kind of a rectangular shape. Now I'm going to start folding it, creating tension. So as I'm dragging it towards me, I'm tucking this underneath, and that's creating tension across the front of the loaf. Take the Banneton, the loaf in the Banneton. Then we start doing a thing called stitching. This is going to be hard for me to show with one hand, but basically we're going to bring and this adds surface tension to the loaf, and it closes up the hole on the bottom. I'll show you from distance. It's better to do it with two hands, where you can bring them across each other. Bring both ends of the loaf in. It creates a nice, the stitching creates a nice surface tension. And this is the bottom of the loaf. When I go to bake them, I'll flip this upside down and dump this onto a piece of parchment paper before we drop it in the Dutch oven. You'll see that process tomorrow after this is all said and done. And that's what it looks like. loaves. There they are. You can see that they've risen quite a bit since last night. They're actually above the Banneton. We'll get them, put them over here. If you're curious about that, that's bagels. So, let's get this in frame. But these are 2 pieces of parchment paper. That's what I'm going to bake the bread on. I've sprinkled a little corn flour on there, cornmeal mix. That gives it that, like, I don't know, it's the small details that matter. Let's take the plastic wrap that I oiled last night off the loaves. And you can see that they've risen inside of the Bannetons. I'm going to compare them to what they looked like last night. And basically what we're going to do is just turn them upside down on the parchment paper. This one looks a little looser, so I'm going to real quick give it a quick stitching. Give it a little extra surface tension. Down in the pan. This device is called a bread lame. I'm not sure. Might be lame, but yeah. So what we're gonna do is make sure we get that whole loaf in the frame. I'm going to cut some leaves in this. I usually do 6 on both sides. I'm not trying to make these things super fancy. A lot of people use and then I cut a relief in the top. So basically that's what it looks like when it's done. Let me get this one done over here real quick. Oh, I hate when that happens. Doggy's always got to bark. Now we're gonna go to the Dutch ovens. They've been in here for 2 hours. The oven's set for 460. I'm warming up these Dutch ovens. The Dutch ovens are warmed up. I'm gonna drop the loaves in the Dutch ovens. Gonna go get some ice. This helps with crust development. Keeps moisture in the oven, in the Dutch oven, while I cook it. 1, 2, 3. The ice slows the evaporation down. Into the oven it goes. Alrighty, oven set to 460. We'll set a timer for a half an hour. Okay, alarm's going off. I'm going to pull the covers off of the bread loaves. I'm going to set another alarm. They look pretty good. I'm going to set another alarm for 10 more. Okay, 10 minutes is up. It's time to get this stuff out of the oven. Hey, excuse me. Extra. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And here's the final product. It looks good. I'm not going to cut it right now because they're actually gifts, and so I'm going to be giving them away. But I think they turned out real well, and success.